Welcome to Storycraft Portal, where stories aren't just told, they're lived. Tonight, we bring you a tale that echoes far beyond politics, into the fragile heart of humanity. In a city cornered by tension, a peaceful campaign rally turned into a scene of chaos and bloodshed. 3 innocent lives were silenced not by argument, but by bullets. They came holding flags of hope, but left behind silence and sorrow. This isn't just about a political event. It's about the families torn apart, the dreams shattered mid-sentence, and a haunting reality that sometimes speaking up for change comes with the ultimate price. Brace yourself, for tonight's story won't just inform you, it will move you. It was just another evening in a small Mexican town, where hopes rode high and campaign banners danced in the dusty wind. People gathered not just for politics, but for change, a change they could feel, not just chant. Children sat on shoulders, elders clapped from corners, and the candidates stood tall, full of words meant to heal. But beneath the chants, something felt off. Eyes scanned rooftops, and whispers passed like cold gusts. Then came a sound no one expected, sharp, fast, and final. One bullet, then another. Panic erupted as bodies hit the ground, hope turning into horror. The crowd scattered like torn paper, and within seconds, 3 lives were lost. The candidate was dragged into a car, blood on her sleeve, eyes wide with shock. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not here, not now. But it did. And in that moment, the city's soul changed forever. This was just the beginning. Sirens cried in the distance, but for those on the ground, every second felt like a lifetime. A father clutched his son, shaking, unable to speak. One woman screamed names into the wind, hoping someone would answer. The square that once echoed with slogans was now stained red, scattered with shoes, posters, and silence. The bodies of the 3 victims lay still, surrounded by chaos, their faces still caught in the emotion of moments before. The candidate, shaken and breathless, watched through the tinted glass as her rally turned crime scene. Her security detail yelled into radios, but the damage was done. Reporters arrived like vultures, cameras flashing, catching pain in real time. The city's mayor remained silent, the police chief unavailable for comment. No group claimed responsibility, no one came forward. But fear had already claimed the city. And somewhere in the shadows, the shooter was still watching, planning, waiting. The next morning, the city woke up to grief and questions. News anchors called it an act of terror, but locals just called it heartbreak. Schools remained closed, shop shutters stayed down, and a quiet unease gripped every street. Murals of peace now looked like lies. 3 funerals were held side by side. 3 coffins, 3 families, and 1 unanswered why. The candidate issued a video statement, voice trembling, promising not to back down. But her eyes betrayed a different truth. She was scared, and rightly so. Threats had started pouring in. Leave the race or face the rest, one message read. Yet, police still had no suspects, no motive, and no leads. Every passerby became a suspect, every silence a threat. In cafes and corners, people whispered theories, but no one spoke too loud. Because whoever did this wasn't finished yet. And everyone knew the second strike was only a matter of time. Behind locked doors, investigators worked around the clock, chasing shadows and dead ends. The murder weapon, a custom sniper rifle, was traced back to a border cartel, but that lead soon vanished. Then came the real break, a list found inside an abandoned van near the rally site. 10 names, all political figures. The candidate's name was third. The list was handwritten, crude, but real. A chill swept through the investigation room. One officer quit on the spot. As news of the list leaked, panic exploded. Other candidates began pulling out, citing family concerns. Some called it a hoax, but the fear in their eyes told the real story. The city buzzed with rumors. Was this the beginning of something larger? Who wrote the list? And why were only these 10 names chosen? The candidate, now under 24/7 protection, asked one question that no one could answer. Who's next? Days passed. But the city remained trapped in a storm of fear and silence. At night, the streets whispered, and during the day, eyes lingered too long. The candidate couldn't sleep. Every mirror felt like a window someone else was looking through. Her team shrank. Volunteers stopped coming. One morning, her driver never showed up. That evening, she noticed a car following hers for 7 blocks. The next day, her campaign manager found his dog poisoned. "Your next" was painted on his wall. Yet, despite everything, the campaign moved forward, quietly, cautiously, like walking through a minefield. The list was real. The threat was real. But the motive was still buried in shadows. She turned on the news and saw another face from the list, now with a red X across it. He was dead. 2 down, 8 left. The war had started, and they were all already on the battlefield. The third person from the list was buried without a crowd, without speeches, without music. His family didn't speak to the media, because they were gone too, taken to a safe house that no one could find. One candle flickered at his doorstep, the wax melting like the city's spirit. The candidate stood by a window, staring into nothing, feeling like the walls were listening. Her phone buzzed every few hours, always unknown numbers, always silence on the other end. The city's leaders went underground. One by one, people vanished, journalists, activists, even a local priest. The list wasn't just a threat anymore, it was a countdown. Yet no one knew who held the clock. The police chief finally made a public statement. "We're doing all we can." But it was too late for promises. The real question wasn't who was behind this. The real question was, who dared to stop it? Security cameras around the candidate's home started glitching, just static and brief flashes of movement. Her tech team reviewed footage for hours, freezing one frame, a masked face peeking through a window at 3:41 a.m. That night, she didn't sleep. Neither did her guards. Fear was no longer a feeling. It was a presence breathing down her neck. Meanwhile, a 4th name was crossed off the list, shot dead outside a charity event. Panic turned to paralysis. Everyone left on the list received envelopes with black excess inside. No words, just symbols. The message was clear: you're not forgotten. The candidate finally broke down in front of her advisor. "I didn't sign up to die," she whispered. But she already knew pulling out wouldn't save her. It would only speed things up. Somewhere in the city, someone was watching them all, and now they knew he was close enough to knock. One afternoon, an anonymous voice message landed in the candidate's inbox. A digitally altered voice spoke just one sentence: "You were warned. Now you watch." Attached was a short video, footage of the 5th victim's final moments, taken from the shooter's perspective. It wasn't just murder, it was theater, choreographed, cold, and calculated. The candidate froze. She wasn't just being targeted, she was being watched like prey. Her team begged her to go underground, to disappear, but she refused. "If I vanish, they win without firing another bullet," she said. But even as she spoke, her voice shook. The 6th person on the list fled the country the same night. No one blamed him. It wasn't cowardice, it was survival. With half the list now gone, it felt like the killer wasn't just following a plan. He was enjoying the fear it left behind. And fear, it seemed, was contagious. Determined to end the nightmare, the candidate set a trap. She announced a final campaign speech, public, open, and defiant. Her team objected, but she was firm: "I'll either win this or stop running." Behind the scenes, security forces layered the venue with snipers, decoys, and facial recognition tech. It was a chessboard now, and they were finally playing offense. The night of the speech, crowds gathered again, but quieter this time, cautious, holding breath. Every light flickered like a warning. Then it happened. A figure was spotted moving through a restricted zone. Cameras zoomed, alarms triggered, and the trap snapped shut. The suspect was tackled, unmasked, and gasps rippled through the air. It wasn't one of them. It was someone from inside the campaign. Trusted, invisible, dangerous. And as they dragged him away, he only smiled and said, "You still don't get it. I'm not the only one." The real game had just begun. He was just one of many. That's what he kept repeating during interrogation. He didn't know their real names, only code words. Payments were digital. Orders came through burner phones. But he gave them one lead, a safe house address where the orders were printed and passed. SWAT moved in before dawn. What they found there changed everything. Walls lined with photos. Surveillance print. Newspaper clippings. The list had grown, 20 names now, not 10. But one thing stood out. The 10th name from the original list had a thick red circle around it. It was her, the candidate. Beneath her photo, one word, tonight. They scrambled to evacuate, but she refused. This ends here. She took the stage one final time, this time with armored glass, snipers above, and a bulletproof heart. The crowd stood still. No shots fired, just silence. For the first time in weeks, complete, perfect silence. The hunt was over.